quick at the beginning of the video. I just want to point out that I got sick over the past couple of days, so if it sounds like I'm a little bit sick, it's because I am. So we're back with another Boruto episode review though, and obviously we didn't really get to see a whole lot of the previews this week, and we don't actually get to see anything from the previews of this week either, which I think is interesting because rarely does that ever actually end up happening. But this week's episode was actually pretty cool. So I kind of talked about how last week the animation was like kind of okay, and I think the reason why I kind of thought the animation was like whatever was because it didn't really like have like the best action. I didn't really think the fighting was actually all that enjoyable. I thought it was just kind of okay. The action in this episode was a lot better. The animation still could have been better, but I think the action and the choreography of what the characters were doing in the fight, that being mainly specifically what I'm wanting to point out, which is Kawaki and Boruto possessed Momoshiki, I thought it was really cool. So obviously in the episode we end up seeing that Shikamaru, excuse me, and Naruto end up showing up and they're about to try to fight. But then Code gets Shikamaru hostage, so Momoshiki possessing Boruto is like, okay, well, I'm gonna go after the Hokage. Because he thinks it'll be hilarious, like, because he hated the whole, and like, father-son duo thing. He thought it was humiliating how they both took him down together. And now he thinks it'll be funny that he's using the body of the son to take down the father. Obviously, Kawaki doesn't want this. The entire time, and the reason why he did this was because he didn't want Naruto to be here. He's been trying to protect Naruto this entire time. And we end up seeing something very surprising. And Kawaki actually reawakens and re-manifests his Karma Seal. Now, whether or not this means that he just has the Karma Seal and he's not able to use that as just a weapon and he's not a true vessel and Ishiki has a chance of being able to be revived again, who knows? They kind of insinuate that it's actually not going to be the thing that's gonna happen. They actually sort of insinuate that, obviously, what's his name? I actually forgot what his name is. Obviously, they think Amato has something to do with Kawaki being able to reawaken and remanifest his Karma Seal, which obviously he did. In what way, I have no idea. I don't know how he managed to be able to do that, but obviously Amato had something to do with this because he's been trying to get Kawaki to get into the idea of remanifesting the Karma Seal. And manifesting the Karma Seal he does. Like, he literally has all of Ishiki Otsutsuki's abilities. So he's able to take matter from different dimensions and throw them out, and he's able to like shrink and increase the size of that. So the giant like cubes that we see Ishiki use during his fights, Kawaki's now able to do that. So Kawaki literally just now has all of Ishiki's abilities, and of course we see him go and we start seeing him fight against Momoshiki possessing Boruto's body. And it was really cool. Like I said, the choreography was really cool. Of the action and of them using their abilities against one another. We basically just see like basically two gods fight against one another, which is kind of what they're supposed to be. And I also want to point out that they actually used or referenced the Naruto versus Sasuke fight. Like literally like one for one, they like referenced the beginning start of the fight from Naruto versus Sasuke with Boruto and Kawaki, or Momoshiki and Kawaki, which I thought was actually kind of cool because I wasn't expecting it, but I noticed it immediately, like just before Kawaki was about to throw a fireball jutsu, which I thought was cool. Right? They didn't have to do that, but you know, whenever they throw back a little bit of references to previous fights from the franchise and the series, I think it's cool. But yeah, obviously, and like we had this really cool fight. Kawaki is literally just right about to kill Momoshiki and therefore Boruto, and Naruto obviously goes in, he goes for the save. He's trying to save his son because obviously he doesn't want his son to die. That's the last thing that he wants to do. The whole time what they've been trying to do is that they've been trying to save Boruto. They've been trying to elongate the inevitable, that one day eventually Momoshiki is going to take full control and he's gonna let loose and he's gonna destroy potentially the entire world, right? Because he's going to eventually have to end up trying to create the chakra fruit, be it from the god tree, so that way he can go and just do that again from on different planets. They've been trying to elongate the inevitability, and that's what they've been trying to do. Naruto is so desperately doesn't want that to end up happening, and he doesn't have it in him to actually be able to take down his son. We obviously have seen that before in the past, that having that responsibility be thrown on him is something that he's just not, and he was never prepared to ever do. So Kawaki tries to take that upon himself, not just for the sake of doing it for someone that he considers a friend, but also to protect the Lord Seventh Hokage, which is something that he is seemingly becoming very obsessed with. And so Kawaki does the deed. You know, he Boruto briefly gets his conscience back, pushes Naruto away, and Kawaki goes for the kill, and he does. Kawaki gets the kill on Boruto, and the episode ends with just the shot of Boruto lying on the ground, completely dead. And I double checked this. This does happen in the manga, and he is dead. But obviously, he's not going to stay dead for long because he's the main character. And Momoshiki isn't just going to allow Boruto to die because he's still the vessel, and Momoshiki still has to be able to get revived somehow in any capacity whatsoever. Now, what Momoshiki is going to do in order to revive Boruto is going to be kind of interesting to see. But it's not even just like the fact that Boruto is the main character and the show is literally called Boruto Naruto Next Generations. It's also the fact that we still have a fight like way later on, like that we saw from the beginning of the first episode. There's still so much more that has to happen. Boruto still has to like grow older. There has to be a time skip eventually where Boruto and everyone else has grown older, and they've grown a lot stronger, and they have a lot more experiences. Now, whether or not when that's going to happen, I have no idea. It sort of feels like that should have happened by now because we're like almost 300 episodes fucking in. But who knows what's going to happen? I have no idea what's about to happen in the next episode because we literally have nothing to go off of what's going to happen. Obviously, if you know what happens in the manga, then you know what ends up happening in the manga. But I have no idea what's going to happen next. I might read a little bit ahead just to get an idea of what's supposed to happen and see how the anime decides to adapt it, sort of like how I did with My Hero Academia recently. But I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't. I'm thinking I'll just go ahead and just wait until next week and see what ends up happening. Overall, though, I like this episode a lot more, mainly because I like the action better. Right? It wasn't like obviously the best animation that this team has to offer. It wasn't like overall the best. It wasn't something like it wasn't something like what I would say on the level of Baryon mode Naruto versus Ishiki or Zetsuki, but it still actually looked pretty decent, and it was a lot of fun to watch. Right, the action and the fighting was fun to watch, which I think is the only thing you could really ask for in a fight scene. That it ends up being fun to watch. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Something else I also want to point out as well about Boruto doing this, like I was said, they were delaying the inevitable. Boruto was trying to delay this from happening by taking the drugs that Amato had been trying to give Boruto to take. And I like how he finally just accepts death. He's completely ready. He tells Naruto to give his regards to his mom and his sister. But I like how he's finally just accepting that this is the reality of the situation. He's just going to have to accept that this is what has to be done. And I think this is, a lot. I think it shows a lot about how much he's grown, right, over the course of the entire series. I don't think Boruto from the beginning of the show would have done anything like this. I think Boruto, like at the start of the series, wouldn't have done anything close to the Boruto that we see now. Which I think is cool. I think it shows a lot of how much he's grown and changed. But yeah, I think that's all I really have to say about the episode. Like I said, I enjoyed it a lot more than last week's episode because I think the action was a lot better. I think Boruto's character development shines really well at the end of the episode, and Kawaki gets his karma seal back essentially. So whether or not we're gonna see something happen with that, in regards to potentially maybe seeing Ishiki maybe come back through this new karma seal that Kawaki has, I'm thinking probably not. I think it's just like a karma seal that he just has on his hand, but it doesn't really do anything other than giving him Ishiki's powers, and it's now just like a full-on weapon that he's now able to use. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see what ends up happening. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you liked the video, be sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more, please be sure to subscribe. I'll see you guys next one. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Hopefully by next week I'm not sick anymore. I'm out. Peace.